With this full moon in Sagittarius, we are being led into an illumination of truth, where some truths that will be revealed can be shattering of our different dimensions of consciousness, especially around society. These beliefs that we hold, and there is a need to see truth for what it actually is. A deeper human truth. Asking the question, is emotional intelligence and safe space something that has been truly honored within our human society and consciousness? There's a shakeup that's happening. This intense, we got Uranus in the mix, so it's going to be this real, restless, divine discontent energy. And it is not going to go quietly. In fact, for where we are in May, building into June and July, especially towards the end of July when the lunar nodes switch, this tension, this pressure cooker experience that is happening to wake us up will continue to build. We are in a very intense time, and the gongs that are being struck right now, the reverberation, the sound, the vibration, will continue to hit and will continue to get louder. No more hiding our heads in the sand. We are being called to wake up. And this call for this full moon is very much going to be around truth. So that's what we're going to be exploring today in this video. And I am so grateful that you are here. If you are new to this channel, my name is Chrissy Whistler. I am an embodied evolutionary astrologer, a channel, an intuitive. I'm also an energy practitioner. If you are needing support right now to understand what is happening in your life, why, and how the hell to work with what you've got on your plate, please reach out. You can go to my website at chrissywhistler.com. And I'm also very excited to announce that my dearest friends and sisters, Katie Gilmore and Tara Whitaker, we are launching our first group quantum healing event. That is going to be on June 7th at 7 p.m. UK, 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you want to find out more about what that is, it's going to be around leadership and what is preventing you from stepping into your leadership? Or what is preventing you from shining as the leader that you are? What is keeping you small? So those are some of the things that we're going to be exploring together in a group quantum field. The spaces are limited, so if you are interested, please go to my website and there will be a link in the description for you. If you find this video helpful, I really do ask for you to do a thumbs up. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Please share this with your friends. Every little bit helps so much. Part of this energy exchange, but also a way of just growing this work, growing these new vibrations of change rather than just all the big scary stuff that's happening out there. We are being called into our sovereignty to step into being the leaders that we are. So even something as simple as liking this video really helps to expand that message. So thank you so much for doing that. Again, I really, really do appreciate you. So as usual, let me go ahead and ground you a little bit into what is happening right now. And my goodness, there is a lot happening. And please let me know in the comments below, how are you doing? Especially around those old stories of worth and value, because that was the seed planting moment for this moon cycle. And this full moon in Sagittarius is going to be a real illumination of what that is for you. To see it clearly, objectively. So what have you been faced with this beginning of May that's asking you to shift your perceptions on what do you find valuable? What do you find worthy? Is this also even about your self-esteem? And do please excuse the noises. They are working on the balcony next door, and this is what I've got to work with, so we're gonna make this happen. I'm actually going to be going to a Sophia gathering with me and several others. There's going to be 6 of us there, camping in Sequoia National Park and sharing our wisdom. So I'm on a bit of a time crunch to get this out to you before I go. So just know that I won't be speaking to anything that's happening closer to the actual full moon, because I'll be in nature. I will be doing the very Sagittarius thing of deep communion with nature. And if you are able to do that in some way, I highly recommend that. Again, tuning in to nature, to natural law, natural time. That'll be part of this message that the full moon is showing us. But before we get to the full moon, let's take a step back and again just speak to this continued tension that is building. This full moon is going to be a blue moon. So we've had 2 full moons in one month cycle. So it's a big one. This is another hit on that gong. Again, the reverberations of change ringing out, this vibration that is calling us back to ourself. This is another huge hit of that change of frequency, this rising up into this new consciousness for humanity. Now, that intensity will continue to build in June and absolutely into July. That is when we will have the lunar nodes moving into the Aquarius Leo polarity. I will be speaking more to that as we get closer to those dates, but just know this is coming. This is coming hard. This is coming fast. So if you see in the world the tension is building, this pressure cooker, it's not going to let up, because we as humanity need to wake up. And we can get really stuck in a rut, right? Like even when things are shitty, most people are like, well, I'll stick with the shitty thing, but at least it's known. Instead of launching into the unknown where anything can happen. So that's why this intensity is needing to rise, because we have to get us past this human conditioning that we all have. And that is the function of Uranus, the archetype, the energy of Uranus and Aquarius, which I will be continuing to speak about throughout this video. So just know this energy, this restlessness, that there needs to be a change is the theme right now in absolutely June into July. So as I've spoken about so much, we are working in cycles within cycles right now. This is why I am so clear on this astrology is building. Humanity wants to stay stuck in the past. Astrology, nature, because nature is, astrology will not let us. There needs to be a push into this evolution of consciousness. It's really hitting hard. It's going to be hitting fast. So one of those cycles that I'm speaking of, waking up the human consciousness, has to do with the dwarf planet Sedna. She has an incredibly long orbit, just under 12,000 years, which is also mirroring the precessional cycle of the sun. And when Sedna is closest to Earth, that is when we have this massive shift in consciousness. And guess what? Sedna is in her closest approach to Earth right now. She will be exact in the 2070s, so it's not like it's tomorrow, but when you've got an 11,000 plus year orbit, you know, getting in within 40 years is pretty darn close. But what's very interesting about Sedna is right now and through this next year, she is conjunct the planet Uranus. Both of them in Gemini. And Uranus, oh my goodness, as I said, Uranus is this divine discontent. Uranus is knocking on the door of Saturn, of the human species, of our consciousness, and saying, this shit in the past isn't working. It is time to make a change. Uranus is deconditioning us from those parts of Saturn, of Capricorn, of society that's actually really bullshit. These conditions, these expectations put on us that are actually really old. Like patriarchy stuff. And it's like, no, this isn't working. This is about coming into true equality. How can we experiment to make it better, to make society better for all? So that's some of what's happening right now. In Sedna, Uranus together is very much like an explosion of consciousness. Our consciousness is going to open at a very big collective level, and we are just in the beginning of that right now, where you might be meeting with someone and they're actually open to talking about the metaphysical properties of crystals. You know, someone who might actually be highly religious in the past, and suddenly they're like, oh, well, tell me more about this thing that you do. Why is astrology so accurate? Why is there a resonance? There's asking these questions. There's this curiosity, this opening of consciousness. So you might be starting to see some of that in your life. You might also be really seeing people doubling down on the past, holding on to those beliefs and not letting it go for dear life. So a third of the population is going to be doing that. And then there's another third of us who are the way showers, who are the pioneers, who are here to create this new earth, this new future. So see what sudden lightning bolts are coming to you, this sudden inspiration, aha moments that can be really, really opening you and expanding you, because Sedna is our soul's path of destiny. What do we need to let go of in order to realign to that part of ourselves? Sedna, in her myth, was clinging on to this boat in the Arctic waters in the midst of a great storm. Her father, to save herself, had thrown her over the boat, but she held on. And the boat was sinking. So her father made the choice to chop off her fingers in order to save himself. And Sedna had a choice to continue clinging on to what was actually not safe, to let go, to transcend that experience. Because as what she did that, once she did that and let go, as her body fell to the bottom of the icy waters, her fingers turned into beautiful sea creatures, seals, whales, dolphins. So this is part of this myth that we are working with. What do we need to let go of to transcend so we can realign to each of us, each of our souls, and what we are here to do? This long 11,000-year journey that our souls have been on, that has been aligning us to be here at this time, to receive this wisdom, to be the way showers and way pavers. It's a very, very powerful cycle within that alone. And of course, there's more. And I'm not going to go super deep into all of these because we'll be here forever. Right now, we have Jupiter's conjunct the planetary north nodes of Pluto and Saturn for all of humanity. So there's been this orientation of humans where we have been missing this most needed medicine of cancer. What is emotional intelligence? What does it mean to have safe space for you and your inner child to matter? So there's this real magnification of that, and I'll speak more of that as I move into this full moon being ruled by this Jupiter. We also have a powerful trine right now between Pluto and Uranus, and that will be exact in July. So again, this is part of that building intensity. Those two, my goodness, this seed for them was planted in the mid-late 60s. Make peace, not war. The whole hippie movement that was started back then, okay, they are now at this aspect of a trine. So there's a flowering of that seed. So there's a need for change. Pluto, our souls want change. It's going to come in and be the bulldozer to get us to wake up, to see humanity for what it actually is, with that stark clarity and objectivity that Uranus, especially Uranus and Gemini, is going to bring us. So this is part of that. We are really, really in it now. These outer planets, and we also have a sextile with Neptune to Pluto and Uranus. So these major outer planets, the reason why they come in as such a destructive force is one way of seeing it, but it's this change. It's a changing force within our society because these outer planets represent consciousness. There is a shift that is happening and we cannot escape it. The best thing that we can do is lean into where this change is taking us, where it is leading us. That is where the energy is moving. This is about learning to move with the flow of each moment in time, to surrender, to let go to what is. This is that lesson the North Node in Pisces has been teaching us for almost 16 months. So I'm just clearing that energy. So big moment. Big consciousness shifts that we cannot escape. Now, as I'm filming this on, what day is it? It's always hard to remember the day. May 26th. On the 25th and the 26th, we have had Pluto in an exact square to Mars. So there's no surprise that we are seeing an escalation of tension and war, especially when it comes to the United States and Iran. We might very well be seeing China coming into this mix, especially around this full moon. All three of these countries in particular are being highlighted right now. Now, Mars square to Pluto. Whenever we have these square aspects, it means that we cannot go in the direction we were going in any longer. There must be a turn. There must be a change of direction. And so that's when things are really heating up, really getting hot, because we have to shift. We have to move into this new way. So what is the desires, the instincts, Mars, to fight? Also Mars, especially over resources, land, oil. Mars is in Taurus right now, so no surprise that there is this escalation when it comes to United States with Iran right now. This tension is also coming directly from the soul, Pluto. Pluto wants change. It hates stagnation. It is that atom bomb, the reactionary chamber of change and transformation. Pluto. So there's this intensity we are being asked to lean into right now. At an individual level, this is really about embracing your unique, authentic self. The freedom to go to the beat of your own drum and to honor your unique way and pace. To explore that, to initiate what works for you. This is very much also about sovereignty, Taurus, the self-reliance, and the instinct to go in that direction, Mars. So you might really be feeling that. How is that showing up for you in your life? Where are you finding this need to initiate a new direction that is actually honoring your unique self, your way, your pace, even honoring and valuing your worth? So, Uranus is really big right now and will continue to be so for the next couple months, and actually really the next 18 months, because North Node's going to be in Aquarius, ruled by that Uranus. So this is a precursor of what will be coming. So if you can take a step back and see what's happening in your life and in the world from a higher objective standpoint. Uranus is wanting to come in and to shatter the bullshit of society, Saturn, of Capricorn, of our governments, these expectations that society, culture, tradition has put on us. And Uranus is coming in and saying, this is not working. Let's experiment. Let's make a change. Let's get back to our actual essential nature. So it's really like shedding the cloaks, the masks that we've needed to wear in order to survive in our societies and our cultures. That pressure is going to continue to build because Uranus, Pluto, it is the grenade in a steel box, and that explosion is coming. More than likely, we are going to feel that actual ignition of the grenade June into July. Now, what's interesting is that very much is reflected in the astrology. And I've also heard those who are channelers like Lee Harris and their guide Ziz saying the same thing. So that's very much what I'm picking up is June, July. There's going to be some spark that's going to wake people up. And that has to do also with that Uranus Sedna. There's this explosion of waking our consciousness as a human species. I can't say what it's going to be, but I can feel that it's building. And I'm curious if you are a sensitive, if you're somebody who works with energy, if you're an intuitive or a channel yourself and you're picking up that too, please let us know in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear what is coming through for you and if there's any mirrors for you in your experience, any resonance to what I'm feeling and what I'm seeing in the astrology. Uranus, I'm not done with Uranus yet. Uranus is currently square the moon's nodes. This is a big deal. There is a need to integrate that energy of this planet. Again, this is a tension. That's that pressure cooker I'm talking about. It's not gonna let up. It's gonna continue to grow this restlessness, this divine discontent. This is high, revolutionary, explosive, eruptive energy between the past, that south node in Virgo, conjunct Lucifer, the asteroid, no less, and the north node in Pisces, who is currently conjunct Gong Gong, bringing in this empath spiritual wizardry. So we are completing the Pisces age right now. What did we not get right? Are we in true, unconditional love coming from our heart of hearts for everyone? Or are we seeing in society, in our governments, that only a few people are pure? Only a few people are worthy. So we are going back over that old story, and that Uranus is coming in to shatter these beliefs of the past, to push us into this future, to get us at a collective level to align with this evolutionary direction of our souls, to realign with Christ consciousness, with unconditional love, of tuning into the divine flow and dance of life. So, know this is up. Know that we are going to continue to see this increase of polarization. That's Uranus in Gemini squaring the moon's nodes. So it's really drilling down on those old stories. What do we need to let go of? What beliefs of patriarchy do we need to surrender to? We are really building towards this heart's being cracked open, North Node in Pisces, especially through things like war. That's Neptune, Saturn in Aries. So that's the backdrop of the energy that we're in. On Friday, May 31st, depending on where you live in the world, we will have our Sagittarius full moon, again a blue moon, 9 degrees Sagittarius, ruled by that Jupiter in Cancer. It's very curious is because that Jupiter is in what's called a sesquiquadrate. It's a square and a half to the moon. So this is a very tense time. We are going to be getting a lot of environmental feedback. This conflict from society coming in, a society that will feel threatened by our souls, because this is about what we don't have: emotional safety. We are living in a world devoid of emotional intelligence, where success is defined by how much money you make, or what your status is. What is your job? Success is not defined by those who go and stand next to a child who may not even be their own and to sit with them as they cry. Gently putting a hand on their back and saying, "It's all right. Will you show me where you got hurt?" And staying in that space of calm, of being present with them and their tears. Not coming in and telling them to stop crying, to just get over it, to pick themselves up and to move on. That energy is what will be magnified at this full moon. This is realigning to what is true natural law of emotional intelligence. And how has society gotten that wrong? And the damage that has done to each of us, to our men who in Western society are only allowed to feel anger. Maybe they can be happy sometimes, but they're not allowed to feel the full spectrum of emotions. They are taught and conditioned, Saturn, to stamp it all out, to not feel. And we now have very damaged men. Their inner child has been harmed because no one's been willing to sit with that inner child and let them cry, let them feel. And the same is true, of course, for women, but in different ways. So this is part, and these are just some examples, but this is what will be highlighted at this full moon, a real illumination of this deeper story and how we have gotten that so wrong and has caused such inner damage. You know, even just looking to our president here in the United States and knowing the childhood that he had, it is no surprise that he has grown into the man or the boy in a man's body that he is, and reacting from such angry, hurtful places. because that's what happens. Those are those traumas that we each have and that lives in society because of the way society has been run in Western civilization. So again, just some examples of what that is. Now, we're being asked, is this the right approach? And we're going to be able to see it clearly. That's the energy of the full moon. Full illumination of truth. Sagittarius. Now, lower octave Sagittarius can very much be around this I know everything mentality. There is one way, one God, one belief. Very much can be like the Crusades. We're going to go in and conquer and kill because our one way is the right way. All of you are wrong, so we got to eliminate you. That is low octave Sagittarius, so just know we can very much be seeing this at this full moon, and it's helping us to see it for what it actually is. So keep that in mind, that even though this might be playing out, there's a reason for it, to help us to see things clearly and objectively so we can make a change. This also has to do with the energy of gurus or people who are leaders, really putting themselves high up on a pedestal. There's a truth being revealed around that, and this fall from grace that can be happening. This is part of that Uranus really cutting in this truth of clarity. The reason why is this Uranus so strongly aspected. Uranus is still conjunct the sun. So we have the moon at 9 degrees Sagittarius, the sun at 9 degrees Gemini, and there's Uranus at 2 degrees. So Uranus is part of this full moon opposition that's happening. So Uranus is going to come in and cut through like a sword of truth all those old stories and beliefs that we're not wanting to see. So real revelations around truth and all the bullshit with it. This Sagittarius energy can also about being very separated, very isolated. Think of the monk separated from the world, alone on the mountaintop. And this not acknowledging the diversity of the whole mountain range or the diversity of other people's experiences. When Sagittarius is at its highest energy, it is being able to be on that mountaintop, to see all around with this topographic view, and to recognize that each person has their own truth, their own perception of life. This is incorporating the Gemini energy of we are all different. And depending on who we are and how we see the world, that truth will be different for me as it is for you. So how are we being asked to see this? How are we being asked to come into alignment with this? Where do we need to be liberated from those one-sided, outdated beliefs? Now, it's interesting as we really look at the aspects this full moon is making. I mentioned that we had the sesqui square to Jupiter from the full moon. On the other side, there is another sesqui square, this time to Eris. So here we have this another turning point of direction, this necessary evolutionary gateway very tense, very potent. And there's that, Eris is coming in with this warrior energy, the sister of Mars. She will not leave the battlefield until harmony is met. So she's going to be causing this discord until we rise to the occasion. This is going to be about embracing our uniqueness, this pioneering genius energy that we each have. And she's going to be standing there on that battlefield and not leaving until we do. She's holding that space for this diversity consciousness to come through. How are you being asked to rise right now? To step onto your field of battle, perhaps even as a leader. Where have you been wounded around being a leader? Someone who is brave enough to initiate new directions, to open that door when something scary knocks. Chiron is at the last degrees of Aries right now, 29 degrees. So there can be this culmination or even this revelation for you around your own wounds. You are being called to step in and to be a leader. But what do you need to see within yourself? Traumas that have been frozen in time that need to be resolved for you to be this person that you truly are. We also have a grand fire trine at this full moon to Varuna, 9 degrees in Leo, to Pallas Athena, to Saturn, to Salacia and Lelele Kuhuna, all in Aries. So there's this need to initiate, to claim our sovereignty and that authentic uniqueness of who we are. What do you need to see that has been preventing you from doing all of that? Again, those restrictions of Saturn, of society, that says you are not a warrior. Do not embrace that intuitive wisdom that you have. This is really shaking us free of that. So what is this full moon illuminating for you around those themes? How are you being tested to step into and to be your unique warrior? To claim that mastery and the sovereignty that you have. This is really helping us to step into mastery, especially the storms of life that we're experiencing right now. Physical storms, emotional storms, psychic storms. Can you just feel how we are being forged in this fire? And this full moon is another moment where that spark of this truth is coming across that we will be able to see so very, very clearly. There is so much that is going on, so very much. And okay, yes, I've covered all of my notes. I really do hope that this is helping you to navigate this moment in time, to understand what might be coming up for you around this full moon and what we may see at that global world scale. To meet those energies, to ride these waves rather than just being pummeled by them and get knocked off our horse. This is that initiation into being true spiritual warriors and teachers, and this intuitive knowing, Sagittarius, that we have. And how has society beaten that out of us? I can certainly say, as a woman and as a mother with children who are different, boy, society really worked hard to gaslight me on what I knew in my gut as a mother, what my intuition was telling me about my children. And wow, that really took a lot for me to step into this fire, this truth of who I am, and to stand in my power, to stand up and to speak for my children and for myself. So know that this battle of even for our intuition is part of the constructs of patriarchy, of the society that we are living in, that gaslights what our gut says, what our intuition is telling us, what our emotional body is speaking to us about, who is safe, who we can trust. So just sort of see and feel into what's showing up for you at this time. What is this full moon illuminating for you? I do hope that you found this video helpful. Again, reach out if you need support. If you feel that call to being a leader and you're ready to shake through, again, all the bullshit that was keeping you small, keeping your voice hiding, preventing you from seeing and recognizing the leader that you are, please join Katie, Tara, and I at our group quantum healing session again on June 7th. You'll find all that information down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please let me know in the comments below, what has your experience been this month? Know that I am cheering each of you on. I am right there in the thick of life with you, growing and learning and changing. I am just so grateful that you are here. Thank you all so much for being here. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.